Hello, 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 whoa, whoa, whoa. Welcome to the Higher Fish. My name is Patrick. Let's just get right into it. So today I modified it. Um, what to keep in mind, what to leave behind, and where to grow, or an area we can grow. And I'm using the Mirror Truth Lenormand cards today. Well, I actually didn't put the dots in the thumbnail. And these are just to make sure I got things more or less in frame. It honestly takes me. I'm not gonna complain today. I'm vibing too hard to come on here and start complaining first thing. So last night, I tried to cheat myself to sleep and it didn't work. And I just kind of like my body just kind of woke up. Like my body is acting like it doesn't need sleep, but I'm like, you're supposed to sleep. So I was like, well, I'm not. I almost thought about going live or recording a video or something. I was like, don't necessarily want to do that. Then I thought about watching Bob's Burgers, and I was like, don't necessarily want to do that. And I haven't really been feeling like playing the game lately, but that's what I decided to do. So I got on Animal Crossing at some really late hour of the night. Everybody was asleep. So I was just walking around, shaking trees, digging up fossils, getting some shells. And then I played Diablo for a little bit. And then, or I guess a minute I played Diablo for. I eventually went to sleep. I actually feel pretty rested though. Let me put these back in. The cards on the table are the moon, the dog, the ship, and the stars. The moon and the stars is interesting because this is all about, and this is a clock. So, let's see. There we go. There's a clock on the moon, right? So this is all about this time that we're in was like predestined. And I love the color symmetry in the moon and the stars. So all this clarity you're about to get, it's like the things you know now, and then as time proceeds, you're going to be finding out even more. And the color of this moon reminds me of a lunar eclipse because it's a little reddish, And so maybe in that Capricorn lunar eclipse, that clock will move a little bit low. But if this is the clock, if this is a lunar eclipse and that's a clock, then Earth's shadow is what dictates and determines when these things kind of happen, right? And with the stars there, it's all about, and again, it sort of amplifies that getting pieces of the puzzle type of energy. But a star is a true light in the night, right? And the moon isn't necessarily. So this is about the true lights coming back or doing whatever. And then we have the dog and the ship. Dogs being loyalty, ships being movement and travel. So this is a trustworthy companion that may be around for the long haul. Whatever direction you want to move in, they also want to move in, right? With the lilies at the bottom. What two cards came out? Oh, the ring and the stars. This is about being really committed to shining that light. There's also a little bit of color symmetry in between these two. I mean, not as much, but a little bit. A little bit. So yeah, I already forgot what I said. What to keep in mind, what to leave behind, and where to go. So I'm going to be doing these 2x2. And yeah, I did my foot soaking meditation today, y'all. I'm feeling so good. I got outside, put my feet in the grass a little bit, feeling so good. After I did my foot soaking meditation and before I took my feet out of the tub, I seen a whole bunch of stuff about soulmates today. Like on the top of my subscription page, I'm subscribed to the Try Guys. So it was like, are you Eugene's soulmate? And I was like, Eugene, no. His standards are too high. Anyway, not too high, but that level of perfection, I'm just like, that ain't me. It could be, but like on a good day, but that ain't me like every day. And also like, y'all know, well, if Eugene like to pop bottles. And I don't know if I'd be able to Popping bottles, getting slizzard. The writer, interesting. What is the message the writer is delivering? The fish. This is Aquarian energy, low key, because Aquarius is the water bearer, right? And where does the fish live? In the water. So the age of Aquarius is ushering in the house, the home. That's now. Or this fish is finding its way home. Because two of the fish are looking this way. Like, these two fish want to go home. This fish doesn't, like, this fish is like, I still got stuff I want to do, right? I want to keep on moving, but maybe you'll find somebody you can move with. That'd be cool, right? With that moon at the bottom again. With that, you know, new moon solar eclipse happening in Cancer with the house or the home. But yeah, anyway, and then I saw like Lizzo, and there was an animated music video for Lizzo and Queer Eye titled Soulmate, and I was like, you know what? I'll just listen to it. And the song is actually really good. So if you ain't listened to Soulmate by Lizzo, then you might want to, potentially. It got me feeling in a good space. And like, she say some words in that song that I wouldn't necessarily say, but I shared it to my Facebook anyway. I love that song. It just got me feeling good. And then I went outside and I'm vibing today, y'all. So I kind of didn't want to do the foot soaking today, but I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and not get lazy because I know that this is something that I energetically need. And I'll do this one more shuffle and then we'll get into it because this doesn't need to be that long. All right, so 2 cards for what to keep in mind. Please. Ooh, 2 cards, exactly. Nice. So 2 cards for what to leave behind. There's one. Who this? Oh, the lady. They said leave that lady behind. Well, listen. I need some clarification. Because I'm my own soulmate. Okay, shoot. They said, hold up. Y'all going to have to clarify this. Because oh, this is so funny. Okay, so maybe leave the lady behind and let's come into some woman energy, right? We're not frail. We don't need to be taken care of. You know, let's come into our power, ladies. Okay, ladies, now let's get information, right? That dainty lady energy, she's gone. Because, you know, the world, with the way that the world was working, the world couldn't handle no dainty lady energy because the world ain't doing dainty lady right. So now we got to come into this Amazonian warrior energy, you know. Okay, can I get one more card for this lady, please? Please. I'll give it 5 more, and if nothing comes out, I'll move on. Because I really like to read my Lenormands in like 2s or 3s or more. What was that? 3. Oops. 4. Last one. Nope, she stands alone. Okay, the lady stands alone. Oh, okay, all right. So maybe leave that behind. If you if you have one of those mentalities, that sounded so bad. I don't want to say it like that. If you're of the mindset that you don't need anyone, I think it's time to leave that behind. Because a lot of times what that mentality does is it masks and it covers something else up. And there's a difference between truly not needing anyone and needing to not need anyone. Like if you need to not need anyone, then leave that behind. And honestly, I used to be of that mindset. And that's one of the things that annoyed and frustrated me the most in the past few months is realizing how much I would really, 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 really like a certain individual in my life. And it's been a lesson I've been learning kind of sort of for the past few years, to open up to really depending on people and not always being in that I can do this on my own, like on that wavelength. And it's not that I like need anyone to do anything, but there's a certain level of happiness and joy and fulfillment that comes with company, right? So, where to grow? Ooh, the mice. All right, what's coming up with these mice? What's this? I'll take it, but I want to get one more too. I'll give it 3 to see if anything falls out, and if not, then I'll move on. Last one. Oh, okay. Well, what's this? What's this? Did y'all see that? It was just like that. What's this? What's this? Ain't that what Jack said? I'll put it back because it didn't fall. Bottom 2 on the deck are the ring and the fish. The ring and the fish. So I think this is about this is about being fluid in commitments and having fluid commitments, because the path ahead is not necessarily set in stone. And so if you're going to be committing to something or someone, you want to make sure you have a certain element of fluidity in that connection if it's supposed to stand, right? And that's also one of the things that I kind of sort of like about the person that I like, is that, anyway, so this is what to keep in mind. Keep in mind the sun and the birds. Just as nature continues to blossom and flourish and grow, so too will we. I feel like this is telling us to keep in mind that there are cycles to everything. And while the birds are here for the spring and the summer, and maybe the fall, they fly south for the winter. And it speaks to an energy of revisiting a situation in the past. Oof. Take this as it resonates, and it's not necessarily for everybody. Okay. All right. This is like kind of sort of speaking to me a little bit. So there was, in the winter season, there was a season of separation, and that season of separation was important. And oh, this is so bright, y'all. It's so bright. I need to start putting cards in the middle of the table more, because what I'll do is I'll put cards out here to make sure it's in frame, but I have my light on like right in the middle. It's kind of sort of right above, and so that's why you get these like really, really bright spots. I don't know what that was supposed to do. There you go. Sometimes a little bit of shadow will help you see things a little more clearly. But with the birds and the sun, it gives me energy of a season of separation. And there was a moment of winter, but while there was winter outside, there was this internal spring, right? Because when it's cold outside, you retreat to the fire of the cave. And so it's giving me hermit energy. But this isn't, it is, but it's a hermit energy that's more so of when everything is reflected back to you. Snow is white, so it reflects all light, right? When everything is being reflected back to you, that's a moment and a time of isolation and preparation for the coming spring, right? Because if the birds, and the birds, like honestly, nowadays though, the birds don't too much fly south because the weather is so inconsistent in the winter. So they never quite get the signal to go. So if you're looking for a sign, if you're looking for a signal on a situation to move on, here's the whole gosh darn sign. So it's like the time is now, and it's time to take flight. Because if you wait until the night, you just might miss out. But it's almost that energy. It's like if you didn't, within the first few days of winter, if you didn't get the cue to leave, then it may have been subtle. It may not have been as extreme as you expected. It may have been a little bit more of an elusive nature. But if you didn't take that signal when it was time to move on and to move inward, you may have missed it. So you may have been kind of sort of continuing business as usual, or continuing in ways that wouldn't necessarily grow you when you were supposed to have been doing that growing. Right? You were one of the birds that didn't fly south because I guess the temperature didn't drop low enough for long enough for you to go. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it worked out fine. But the birds who are coming back with a tan, like, girl, they got stories. Next is this lady card and what to leave behind. And I feel like there is a little bit of dependence with this lady. But it may not be a dependence on what you think it is. And if this lady flew south for the winter, she'd know where her dependencies truly lie. She would know it because it may not be what you thought it was. I don't know. I'm not necessarily feeling this as being dependent and reliant on someone else. I'm more so feeling this as being dependent and reliant on thought patterns and old stories that you tell yourself to keep yourself from falling apart. And sometimes you kind of got to fall apart a little bit to get to where you're going. So all of that, like, what was like the things that you already know aren't for you, it's time to leave them behind. And it's time to become a woman, lady. A woman. I mean, you can have your lady moments, but you know, you can be a BAB, right? A bad AB. It's time to boss up. Ladies, boss up. And what to keep in mind, this is where to grow. So, mice in the mountain. I actually love this energy. The mice in the mountain where to grow. This is telling me that not all change happens all at once. There are some things that you do gradually, right? Because the mice is a very gradual, very over time energy, but there are strength in numbers. And the power of the mice, it's in numbers, but it's also in time, right? It takes time for the mouse to gnaw through the rope to free the captured lion. And as you continue to overcome these obstacles in your way, you'll be freeing that lion. So many big cats lately. Lions and tigers. I'm kind of partial to tigers, not gonna lie. But I can have a lion moment. Ooh, that lion came for me. I still remember that dream. And I remember like freaking out and trying not to freak out when it stabbed me in the back, but injected me with its power. And now look at me up here talking like, oof, who would have thought, right? And I kind of want to get an overall. So where to leave this all at? So what to keep in mind is that there are cycles and seasons for a reason. And when you get the signal, you have to move. Like, you don't have to move, but you get maximum output, maximum efficiency when you move when you're directed, right? What to leave behind is any attitude that would keep you from getting and pursuing what you actually want. The lady can also be an energy of one who settles, because in the past, you know, some marriages, like in the deep past especially, some marriages would have been more about like an exchange than love, right? And so if you're actually going for love, you need to leave behind that exchange mentality. And then where to grow, again, is to just keep chipping away at the mountain. Because one of these days you'll realize that the mountain was kind of sort of gone a minute ago. But the mice are small, so they don't, the sense of scale is different between a mouse and a lion. And maybe one day you'll chip away enough at these mountains as a mouse that when you come into your lion energy, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can just like leap over this, right? So maybe not. Is there any final thing? Oh, this is going to be like less than half an hour. I'm so pleased. Final messages. They said, no, that's all right. You good. Okay. So I'm going to shut this down. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to get there. I hope you're doing everything that you know you need to do to get where you need to be. And I hope that just like the mice, you won't give up and you'll continue. But like the lion, when you can make that leap, you'll take that leap. And the leap will always be a leap. So, you know. But you can make it. Look, I got all this unused space up here. Oh, goodness. I should have planned this better. But if I put it all up here, see, this is where the light is. Oh, well. Bye.